Yep, I'm back again. All right, Section 2. Any payment, conveyance, transfer, assignment, or delivery of property or interest therein made to or for the account of the United States Incorporated. I added that incorporated part. Let's say it like it is. Or as otherwise directed pursuant to this subdivision, or any rule, regulation, instruction, or direction issued hereunder, shall to the extent thereof be a full acquittance and discharge for all purposes of the obligation of the person making the same, and no person shall be held liable in any court for or in respect to anything done or omitted in good faith in connection with the administration of or in pursuance of and in reliance on this subdivision or any rule, regulation, instruction, or direction issued hereunder. I mean, why all of the words? Do you think we don't get it with just one? To cite two further examples, in the context of the war powers issue and the long debate of the past decade over national commitments, 10 USC, United States Code 712, is of importance. 10 US United States Code 712, foreign governments detailed to assist A, upon the application of the country concerned, the president, whenever he considers it he considers it in the public interest, may detail members of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps to assist in military matters. 1. Any republic in North America, Central America, or South America. 2. The Republic of Cuba, Haiti, and Santo Domingo. And 3. During a war or a declared national emergency, any other country that he considers it advisable to assist in the interest of national defense. B of 3. What the hell? There was no A. Maybe this is 4. Typo. Subject to the prior approval of the Secretary of the Military Department concerned. A member detailed under this section may accept any office from the country to which he is detailed. Whoa, 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 now here. To accept any office? That means he's got dual allegiances. I don't know. Maybe my thinking just isn't right, but that sounds like dual allegiances to hold an office in another country. Maybe that doesn't apply to the military, right? Maybe just politicians. Where's Patton? He is entitled to credit all service while so detailed as if serving with the armed forces of the United States. Arrangements may be made by the President with countries to which such members are detailed to perform functions under this section for reimbursement to the United States or other sharing of the cost of performing such functions. The Defense Department, in answer to inquiries by the Special Committee concerning this provision, has stated that it has only been used with regard to Latin America and interprets its applicability as being limited to non-combatant advisors. However, the language of Section 712 is wide open to other interpretations. It could be construed as a way of extending considerable military assistance to any foreign country. Since Congress has delegated this power, arguments could be made against the need for further congressional concurrence in a time of national emergency. The repeal of almost all the Emergency Detention Act of 1950 was a constructive and necessary step, but the following provision remains. There's always a catch. 18. United States Code 1383. Restrictions in military areas and zones. You could call the whole United States a military area or a zone. Whoever, contrary to the restrictions applicable thereto, enters, remains in, leaves, or commits any act in any military area or military zone prescribed under the authority of an executive order of the President, by the Secretary of the Army, or by any military commander designated by the Secretary of the Army, shall, if it appears that he knew or should have known of the existence and extent of the restrictions or order that his act was in violation thereof, be fined not more than $5,000 or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. 18. United States Code 1383 does not appear on its face to be an emergency power. It was used as the basis of internment of Japanese Americans in World War II. Although it seems to be cast as a permanent power, the legislative history of the section shows that the statute was intended as a World War II emergency power only. But aren't we seeing that happening now with FEMA camps? Yeah. Okay. So much for World War II emergency power only. It was not to apply in normal peacetime circumstances. Well, how can we be in peacetime circumstances if we're still under a state of national emergency? The two do not mean the same thing. 2 years ago, the Emergency Detention Act was repealed, yet 18 United States Code 1383 has almost the same effect. Another pertinent question among many that the special committee's work has revealed concerns the statutory authority for domestic surveillance by the FBI. According to some experts, the authority for domestic surveillance appears to be based upon an executive order issued by President Roosevelt during an emergency period. If it is correct that no firm statutory authority exists, then it is reasonable to suggest, excuse me for stumbling, that the appropriate committee enact proper statutory authority for the FBI with adequate provision for oversight by Congress. What these examples suggest and what the magnitude of emergency powers affirm is that most of these laws do not provide for congressional oversight or termination. There are two reasons which can be added as to why this is so. First, few, if any, foresaw that the temporary states of emergency declared in 1938, 1939, 1941, 1950, 1970, 1971, and most of you have been around since then, so you know all the emergency acts been passed since then, would become what are now regarded collectively as virtually permanent states of emergency. War on drugs, perfect example. War on terror, another perfect example. But the war on drug things was here first. So how long has that been going on? So years. All right. That way they can use the armed forces as well as every other agency against American citizens engaged in such activities. All right. Would become what are now regarded collectively as virtually permanent states of emergency. The 1939 and 1941 emergencies were terminated in 1952. 40 years can in no way be defined as a temporary emergency. Second, the various administrations who drafted these laws for a variety of reasons were understandably not concerned about providing for congressional review, oversight, or termination of these delegated powers, which gave the president enormous powers and flexibility to use those powers. I'll bet you he has the power where he could lock up everybody that's in the House of Representatives and Congress. The intense anxiety and sense of crisis was contained in the rhetoric of Truman's 1950 proclamation, wherein recent events in Korea and elsewhere constitute a grave threat to the peace of the world and imperil the efforts of this country and those of the United States, of the United Nations, to prevent aggression and armed conflict. And whereas world conquest by communist imperialism is the goal of the forces of aggression that have been loosed upon the world, and whereas if the goal of communist imperialism were to be achieved, the people of this country would no longer enjoy the full and rich life they have, with God's help, but built for themselves and their children. They would no longer enjoy the blessings of the freedom of worshiping as they severely choose, the freedom of reading and listening to what they choose, the right of free speech, including the right to criticize their government, the right to choose those who will conduct their governments, the right to engage freely